Have you ever wondered if getting rich is a skill? Something you can actually learn instead of just, hoping to win the lottery? Well, today we're going to crack open the playbook of entrepreneur and investor Naval Ravikant. We're going to distill his core principles on how to build wealth, not by chance, but by design. All right, let's kick things off with this huge idea. Naval completely reframes how we think about making money. See, he argues it's not about just working harder at your job or hoping for a lucky break. Nope. Think of it more like learning a language. It's a skill set, and once you're fluent in the language of wealth, you can apply it over and over again to build new things. So here's the game plan for today. First, we're going to redefine what wealth even is. Then, we'll get into the engine behind it all, your specific knowledge. After that, we'll talk about the massive power of leverage as a multiplier, why accountability and playing the long game is the only strategy that works, and finally, how it all leads to the ultimate goal, getting paid for your judgment. Okay, first things first. Before you can even start building wealth, you need to be crystal clear on what the target is. And Naval's big point here is that honestly, most of us are chasing the completely wrong things. This right here is the key, and it changes everything. Wealth isn't just having a fat bank account. According to Naval, true wealth is owning productive assets. It's the businesses, the robots, the software programs that are working for you 24/7, even when you're on vacation. At the end of the day, that is what buys you your freedom. Okay, so this is a really important distinction. On one side, you've got wealth creation. Think of it as a positive sum game. We can all build things and create more value for everyone. But on the other side, you've got money, which is just how we move wealth around, and status, which is your rank in the social pecking order. Status is a zero-sum game. For one person to climb up the ladder, someone else has to get pushed down. And we often get confused and chase status when we should be building wealth. And this is a huge warning from Naval. People who are obsessed with status games often try to tear down people who are busy creating wealth. You'll see them call it greedy or unfair. So Naval's advice is basically see the game for what it is, this silly social ranking thing, and just opt out. Ignore it. You've got to focus on creating value, not winning some social hierarchy game. So if wealth is the destination, what's the engine that's actually going to get you there? Well, according to Naval, it all starts with something he calls specific knowledge. Now, specific knowledge, this isn't about your college degree, okay? It's this unique, weird blend of your natural talents, your genuine passions, the things you're just curious about. It's something that can't be easily taught in a classroom or outsourced because it's baked into who you are. I mean, you can't learn a master chef's taste from a textbook, right? That stuff is built over years and years of just being obsessed with it. So how in the world do you find yours? Think about it. What did you do as a kid just for fun? What do you find yourself doing on a Saturday morning when no one's telling you what to do? What's the thing that feels like play to you, but to other people it looks like incredibly hard work? That's the signal. That's where your specific knowledge is hiding. And this quote just hits it perfectly. When you lean into the things that make you uniquely you, you kind of just step outside of the competition because nobody can compete with you at being you. The classic example Naval brings up is Joe Rogan. You can't just go create another Joe Rogan because his entire product is just him being authentically himself, at scale. Your authenticity is your ultimate advantage. All right, so you've got your specific knowledge figured out. Awesome. But now, how do you scale it? How do you magnify it? The answer is leverage. It's the tool that multiplies your output without you having to multiply your input. It's the thing that lets you get a massive result from a small amount of effort. So Naval breaks leverage down into three main types. First, you have labor, getting people to work for you. It's the oldest form of leverage, and it can be pretty messy. Then you have capital, money. That was the big one in the 20th century. But then you have the new kid on the block, the real game changer, code and media. Think software, podcasts, videos, stuff you create once and it can work for you forever at basically zero extra cost. And that word right there, permissionless, that's the magic word. Think about it. To get people to work for you or to get a bank to give you money, you gotta ask for permission. But to write some code, to start a YouTube channel, to record a podcast, you don't need to ask anybody. This is the great equalizer of our time, and it's the engine behind almost all of the new fortunes being made today. So this completely reframes how we should think about the economy. Naval says the real divide today isn't so much rich versus poor, it's the leveraged versus the unleveraged. He has this amazing way of putting it. There's an army of robots available for you to use right now. They're just sitting in data centers waiting for your instructions. The only question is, are you going to use them? Okay, so we've got the engine, your specific knowledge, and the multiplier, leverage. Now we need the strategy to actually drive this thing, and it really boils down to two key ideas: taking on accountability and playing long-term games. All right, this is one of those hard truths, and it comes straight from Naval's legendary tweet storm. As long that you are renting out your time, trading hours for dollars, you're never going to be truly free. Your inputs are directly linked to your outputs. If you stop working, the money stops. It's that simple, and that is not the path to wealth. So what's the escape hatch? It's one word: ownership. You have to own a piece of the upside. You need equity. That could be shares in a company you work for, stock you buy on the market, or the best way, by starting your own business. Equity is the only way to truly break the link between your time and your income. I love this slide because it basically gives you a career roadmap. So maybe you start out at step 1, you're a laborer, you're just trading your time. Then you can move to step 2, a contractor, where you start leveraging other people's labor. The next step up, a developer or an investor, you're leveraging capital and taking on more risk. And at the very top, you have the founder, who's combining all three: code, capital, and labor, for the biggest possible impact. And the other half of this strategy is all about patience. You have to understand that all the best things in life, whether it's wealth, relationships, or your reputation, they all come from compound interest. The real rewards don't come from one-off deals. They come from playing the long game with other people who are also in it for the long haul. All right, so we've covered the engine, the multiplier, and the strategy. This last piece of the puzzle, this is the North Star. This is what you're aiming for. It's about getting to the point where you're paid not for doing the work, but for deciding what work should be done. It's all about judgment. And this quote says it all. The goal, the absolute endgame, is to get to a place where you're valued for the quality of your thinking, not the number of hours you put in. So what is judgment, really? Well, it's not just about being book smart. It's about wisdom. It's about applying what you know to messy, real-world problems. It's seeing a few moves ahead on the chessboard, understanding the ripple effects of a decision, and then having the courage to make the right call. In a world full of leverage, this becomes the single most valuable skill you can have. And this is why judgment is the ultimate skill. When you have a lot of leverage, like a big company or a piece of software that reaches millions, your decisions are massively amplified. A tiny 1-degree shift in your judgment can lead to a completely different and massively better outcome down the line. A CEO doesn't get paid for working hard, they get paid for being right. So, we're going to leave you with this one big question to chew on. It really pulls everything we've talked about together, right? It's asking you to look inside yourself, find that unique thing you've got, your specific knowledge. Then, look outside at all the amazing tools of leverage that are available to you. And then finally, start charting a course for a future where you get paid for your wisdom, not just for your work.